Hello everyone and welcome to the AI Arena stream. We are going to have a lot of good games tonight and probably we are going to have some others in the audio also so you don't have to listen to me all night long. I think Spud is here already, so Spud, welcome here.
Thanks, hello.
I think I will start just queuing up the games. I think that's the thing we are going to start with.
Hello, everyone.
Hello and
Hello.
welcome. So first one will be Dovahkiin versus Sludge Revived. I don't know how to pronounce Sludge, but that's all I can get.
Yeah, I think it's Sludge Mint is the original name. Not sure how, if it means something.
That sounds quite a bit right. I think it's made from a judgment somehow. But anyway, second game will be Eris versus Sharkbot. Eris is Eris number 1 or 2 at the moment on the ladder?
Number 2.
I believe Eris is number 2.
Because I think the number 1 place has been constantly changing in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I just looked up. Eris is currently number 2.
Yeah, Ketrock has a 80-point lead right now.
Yeah, Kedrock has an 8 over Eris.
And the third game will be Sunjubot versus Eris. And then we are going to have Spud versus Micro Machine. That will be an interesting game. And Dovahkiin versus Chaosbot will be game number 5. And after that, we'll be seeing Sunjubot facing Silver Bio. I think Silver Bio is one of the house bot, isn't it?
Yeah, looks like it, yeah.
And then we are going to have a match between Ketrock versus Anibot. I think we are going to see mines on that game. And the last but not the least will be Ketrock versus Spud.
All right, we got the first game starting now. If you're controlling the view, it just went up to the top left corner.
I'm not logged in at the moment, but I can do that.
No, it started with the auto observer again, but it shot up to the top left, so we might want to take a look at that.
Yeah, okay.
So I can maybe give some background on this Sludge bot, that it was there was a Finnish competition, let's see, it's over 2.5 years ago now, making StarCraft bots, and it was originally it was the bot that won that competition, and I guess the author developed it for a while after that, but then hasn't, and Infi restored it for the current ladder.
Yeah, it's great to have the old bots back in the scene, even though the author is inactive. So hopefully we will see more old bots coming back, because there was some really, really strong bots back in the day. I saw only a couple of games. This Sluts Revived. It seems quite a solid bot, but I have no more information regarding that one.
Yeah, I think it. If I remember right, it primarily uses like, well, depending on the matchup, I guess, but it uses like Lings, Hydras, Roaches, Ravagers, and it does. I don't think it takes up past that. Like it doesn't use Brood Lords or Vipers or anything, I think. But it's sort of it. I think it sort tries to like be pretty active on the map and evaluate fights and that sort of stuff, which I guess most Zerg bots try somehow. But
Yeah,
see,
that's
Dovahkiin is pretty aggressive with the Roach Rush.
yeah. It seems that Sluts is quite overwhelmed at the moment. That Dovahkiin has a double of the army value at the moment. And Dovahkiin is burrowing the roaches, and I think Sluts doesn't have a detection for those burrowed roaches at the moment, at least. I think that's quite a good idea to burrow the roaches, because it's able to save a lot of those roaches, and they will be able to fight later on. And as far as I know, the roaches will heal quite fast when they are burrowed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, and
believe it also reduces the threat level essentially of them. So units will quite often switch target if a roach burrows. And then if you don't have detection, it obviously switches target because it can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't like the API doesn't give like say that there is a burrowed roach, right? No.
So it actually can. The reason it doesn't is because a burrowed roach that is not moving cannot be seen.
Yeah, as long as it's still it's not visible for the enemy, but once it moves, you can see the burrowed unit in that location.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I still have like some, not many bots. I forget, is it Spiny or something? Like some bot has a roach rush which uses borrowed roaches, and I don't like at that. It comes so early that I don't like have enough energy saved for scans and so on. And it's pretty annoying even against Terran, or for my bot, I mean.
Yeah, those burrowed roaches, they are quite problematic. I haven't solved them properly. I do have a workaround, but I haven't solved that yet properly.
Yeah, when they come that early, you probably want a missile turret. It's not much other options Terran has that early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the missile turrets early on, they require that engineering bay, was it?
Yeah.
To be able to build. So it's a rather big investment early in the game. But of course, if you are able to win with that investment, of course, it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, if burrowed roaches arrive and you don't have a starport, then scans only keep you alive so long. So I think it's better to try to rush a missile turret for your ramp than to try to rush a Raven.
Yeah.
I agree with you that. Sharkbot made a proxy pylon. Is there anything else proxied at the moment? I think not.
Yeah, just the pylon.
Eris probably saw it. Yeah. No, it's even attacking.
I think Eris is sending only one drone for every proxy building. I'm not sure, but at least it doesn't react to proxy barracks more than one drone.
In ProBots, it did react to the Benbot's bunker with several drones.
Oh,
yeah, the
yeah.
bunker sends a lot.
Yeah. There might be some other cases where it sends several, but
Those
Ooh,
adepts are making a lot of damage.
Yeah, once the queens go down, the Zerglings aren't going to stand much of a hope.
That's a frightening amount of adepts at the moment.
Yeah, adepts are scary. -0 is like you're getting like torn apart by adepts, and they come so early that you think you're getting
Yeah.
all in, and then you look at the mini map and he's got like 4 bases in the background. You're like, oh man, even if I
Yeah.
survive this, I'm gonna be so far behind.
That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
I was looking at some of the replays against -0, and I'm not sure what the appropriate response exactly even is, because like you said, that like, of course I could defend on one base, but it's not a good solution either. Like if he has 3 bases or whatever.
Yeah, I'm struggling
Well,
with that myself.
Zergbots are amazing at expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, adepts are an issue. Like with Terran, like as a human, I rely on walls, but my bud is not capable of figuring how to wall off like my natural base or anything.
So and for Terran, just a marine push early on can be devastating for a similar kind of build as this, as long as it hits early enough. But once you
Yeah,
start getting
adepts
into
are
this, you're probably gonna have to go target Eris's tech or something similar, essentially.
Terran also doesn't have a unit that does bonus damage to adepts and doesn't take bonus damage from adepts. Like I need a unit that does bonus to light but isn't a light unit itself. And Terran doesn't have that. So there's no like hard counter to adepts. But I'm playing with siege tanks. I've tried out cyclones. I've tried out hellions, and they all kind of work, but kind of don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the shades make it way more difficult than without, because if you figure it out somehow to defend the adept push, and they are able to shade on your main, and then you're completely screwed after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think didn't Micro Machines wall, like he didn't recognize the adept shades like in ProBots. Like I think I have similar problems. I haven't looked what is causing it, but because I should like close the main base wall when enemy units are nearby, but the adepts I think often get in.
Yeah, I think actually Micro Machine was closing the wall on the shades, but at one point he was standing on the depot when the shades were coming in, so
Okay.
he wasn't able to close the wall.
Yeah,
-0 is
there was
also particularly good at breaking in. If your wall's
Yeah.
closed, he'll try to focus down one of the supply depots.
If I remember correctly, there was an SCV on the supply depot, and Micro Machine wasn't able to lift it up. This is what I remember.
Yeah, I think my bot should lose every game against -0, but sometimes -0 just stops expanding after like 5 bases. So even though I'm really far behind, eventually he'll just starve himself out. But yeah, if he just kept expanding, I think I'd be losing 100% of my games versus him.
I have seen similar behavior from bots. They just stop expanding after some limit or something, that they are not willing to take the 6th or 7th base at all.
It kind of depends on the bot, because I know some of them are just scripted completely from almost start to end for at least their build sections. So if they don't have a build section to expand again, then they usually don't, obviously.
Yeah.
But some of them use, because I know the way I have it is I have a loop, so that when I get above a certain number of minerals, I will try and expand. But on some of the later game sections, I'm not bringing in enough minerals to get above that threshold, so I don't expand after that.
Yeah, that's the same as my bot.
I think I'm just checking the saturation. If my all bases have been saturated, then I will expand. And if I have way too much minerals, I will spend them on expansions. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a
The
good way as
next
well.
game, yeah, Sunchubot versus Eris will be in this game.
So in my Gauntlet series, Sun Tzu bot had this issue where Zerglings were just very hesitant. They'd always just kind of not want to attack until they all died off. And I noticed that's still an issue with the bot. I think if he fixed that up, he would be a really good basic Zerg bot. Because it expands well, it gets lots of drones, a huge army. But just sometimes it just doesn't want to engage with Zerglings.
Actually, one of the things I was thinking about, you did made this Gauntlet series a few times. What do you guys think? Should we change the community stream to one big Gauntlet tournament that we check, let's say, 5 games per stream and continue from where we left? And of course, if there's a new bots, we will add those in the queue and so on.
It's an
I
idea.
think we could probably do it for a few of the streams, but still, just going over submitted games is every now and then at least is probably good as well.
Yeah, I like this. We just games are submitted, and then we can just talk about whatever we want to talk about. Good time to ask questions and stuff too.
Yeah, I think this is a good place to ask questions and rise up some discussion about the bots and so on. At the moment, Sunchubot has a quite nice worker lead at the moment.
Yeah, and that's not easy to do against Eris. Eris is he tries to get as many workers as he can without dying. That's quite impressive.
That's absolutely correct.
It's probably a little risky because it kind of looks like Eris could kill him right now. He's got so many more Zerglings. Well, actually, not that many more. 38 army supply to 32. It's pretty close.
This is a behavior I've seen a few times from Eris, that he's hesitant. He had an opportunity to kill those roaches, I think it had, but instead it decided to dance a little bit and retreat.
Yeah, it's probably one of those threshold things where like, okay, I have enough. No, I don't have enough. Now I have enough again. Like every time it just wiggles a little bit, it keeps changing its mind.
Yeah, that's a
my guess.
problem in many places. Yeah, I think you're quite right about that. Sunchubot has a quite nice army lead at the moment with those Ravagers and Roaches. I think this might do some damage.
Yeah. The only issue is he might get chased around by Eris. Eris likes to kind of like harass with those Zerglings, and even when you're capable of just going to kill him, you get distracted by these Zerglings that keep running into your base, and you never go on the offense.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing basically. So I'm running around on my side of the map behind 1 or 2 Zerglings, and that's it.
Yeah, I've addressed that a little bit for my bot versus Eris. I don't have it perfect, but my bot's a little bit better at peeling off units to deal with the Zerglings and letting the main push keep going forward.
These Ravager bios are pretty funny.
Yeah, they're all hitting its own units. I can't tell if he's dodging his own bios or not. I don't think he is. That's something you never think of as a bot author, to dodge your own bios.
I think
anything with
Sun Tzu is biling himself. He wants to keep the army balance even.
yeah.
Maybe it's like a taunt. He's celebrating the victory already.
Now I don't even know what he's shooting at. He's shooting biles behind himself, but there's nothing there.
Might be just simply his retreat code that he shoots biles back there if he has them.
I see. They're still pushing here. The Hatchery gets to soak up some damage, which is nice for Eris. Sun Tzu bot's also peeling off to chase the Zergling or something. But yeah, Sun Tzu is maxed out and still going. Very similar compositions. Another good choke point for Eris, but it just might be too much.
And Sun Tzu is also harassing on the another base
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, picked up
and,
a queen, some drones.
Yeah.
Oh, nice fungal. I wonder if Eris has any sort of if he tries to combo his biles with his fungals. Those two go well together. You find nice ball units, you like make sure they're stuck together with the fungal, and then you drop a bunch of biles on them.
Yeah, because the units will be moving so slowly on under the spell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Sun Tzu is just staying maxed. He's even banking some resources, and Eris is struggling just to survive and losing bases. He's not going to be able to keep up this sort of production.
Yeah, it's a miracle he's been able to hold up so long. I think there's a lot of good micro in Eris units, but of course, when you're facing overwhelmed numbers, there's the micro is not going to save you.
Yeah, Yada hunts on with the threshold thing. That's the correct method. Is to have two thresholds, a turn on and a turn off, so you never end up stuttering on one threshold. No production tab. You can probably log in and fix that.
Yeah, I'm not able to stay logged in with my internet connection. I'm going to drop out quite soon if I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, so I think when you log out, you want to make the StarCraft 2 window active. That way the production tab button thing will work, the auto thing we have.
Okay, I will try to remember that one. Okay, we do have the production window. Well done, Sunjubot. This was a rather impressive victory. I think being really greedy against Eris really paid off this time. But if you're looking at the losses tab, it's surprisingly even. So Sunju definitely needed that extra economy to actually win this one.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this was luck, but he kind of played perfect against what Eris is doing. He had more workers, but not so many more that you're risking dying. And then he got into roaches faster to make the Zerglings of Eris early on kind of pointless. And then from there, it's just his bigger economy and better composition worked out for the victory.
Lack of planning, it's still an impressive victory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be planned. Like maybe his worker count is based on how threatening his opponent looks. I'm guessing if he gets all in, he's not going straight to 60 drones. So
Yeah, I
so
think
there's
so.
probably some sort of coding around that. I'm not sure how developed it is, but yeah, it just ended up being perfect against what Eris is doing.
That was a great game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And next we are going to have Micro Machine versus Spud.
Oh, we can have Micro Machine win on stream now. He's not the target anymore.
Yeah. This game is I was discussing this with Rasper that because I was like trying out sort of a like I was essentially for Probots against my match with Micro Machine. I was struggling to attack against tanks as usual. And then I thought that, well, maybe if I distract the tanks by a medivac drop, I can sort of surprise them unseized. And in this game, it actually works like perfectly. I end up losing anyway, but it's sort of interesting to see.
Oh, that's cool.
So this one will be like Micro Machine's third win in a stream.
Well, I mean, it's now only rank 3. We gotta give it some wins.
Yeah, not sure. Hope the auto observer sees what's happening on the map when the drop comes.
I think it prefers combat units that are in action, but the bigger battles. So
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on the mini map.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to look into is, since I'm always spamming mules for different reasons, was trying to find positions where I can drop mules on enemy units and have his own tanks blow them up. Because that's sometimes what I do as a human player. You have two tanks sieged up kind of near each other. You just start dropping mules on them and the tanks start shooting each other.
That's so mean strategy.
And that depot placement for Spud.
Yeah,
It'll be okay when they're lowered, but at the moment it's really interrupting the mining.
Yeah. I should really change that. Especially now, I added speed mining now, and it can get a bit buggy when I add the like different structures there.
Yeah. What humans like to do is they put depots in front of gas geysers they haven't taken yet, because then it won't interrupt the mining, at least when it's in production.
Yeah.
It is nice for your base management though once they're done. Gives you lots of extra space for other structures.
Yeah, but I could sort of place them between the columns I have for factories and barracks and so on. I think there's like place for them.
Yeah, I'm guessing your columns are too wide, in which case it's kind of perfect for the depots.
Yeah.
I wonder, would you be able to protect your mineral line against circlings, example, by placing supply depots and lift them up when the circlings are coming in?
Yeah. I had a weird thought of walling off maybe like half my mineral line that way, for the flat 48 map competition, but it was just too involved to
Okay,
get it working.
I think I should be attacking soon. The
Okay.
medivac is out.
Yep. So army's coming up towards like between the third and natural.
Well, the
And I guess those
yeah,
are two medevacs on the south, heading towards the main.
No, this is Micro Machine attacking, but I should be attacking soon.
Okay.
Micro Machine has just taken his third also. Yeah, okay. So what I do is I sort of go up to a certain distance and then I siege up with my units out of vision and then go with the medivac in the main base.
You actually drop something, or do you just try to trick them with a empty medevac?
No, I drop.
Okay, yeah.
Although it's against many bots, it's not very effective, but like damage-wise.
Yeah, but in this case...
Now my army is not, the tanks are unsieged, you see, there.
Yep, coming back towards the main to defend, and now you get to move forward.
Yeah.
Very nice. Oh, and the two that got sieged up got Matrix too.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that was a beautiful attack.
Unfortunately, I just throw away all my units in this attack after this. Like, if I would have retreated or something and gotten a few more anti like air units or something, I could have won the game. But now I just throw them all away.
Yeah, but it was a beautiful execution with the medevac drop. Do you have some path finding for the medevac, or do you have a pre-calculated path for the medevac?
No, well, it's sort of, it tries to find, it finds a path depending on the, like essentially it's trying to go behind the main base mineral line, but it selects the path depending on what I know about the enemy structures and units. And it also tries to avoid the like third base or fourth base locations, even if I haven't seen them, just sort of expecting there to be some enemy vision.
So basically, you are trying to get hidden, unnoticed, behind the enemy main line. Okay. And what I noticed also, the Micro Machine did stop mining in the main. When you made the drop, he was moving those SCVs back, so you denied the mining for a while also. I think that's also a factor in this scenario.
Yeah, and I could, like, ideally I could just get out with the medivac also if I like implemented it properly, but in this case it's just a sort of a throwaway drop.
I just noticed Bernie's streaming right now as well.
Okay, what he might be streaming?
Nothing really to us, I don't think. Something called Satisfactory. I'm guessing that's the game.
It's like a 3D factory building game. But this attack was more my usual play against tanks, that I essentially ran my entire bio army into 5 tanks.
With my tank army, I only have like 4 or 5 unupgraded Marines of them. But the way I do it is I set those Marines just to protect the tanks. So the Marines just stay with the tanks and only engage when there's an enemy threat for the tanks. So that way they don't like roam forward and get blasted. They're more of a protection role.
Yeah.
I tried to make something similar with my Marines. Unfortunately, the code is not perfect yet, and I have to give some attention for that part of the code also. But I think I'm going to try the same thing as you are. So the Marines are only to protect the tanks, and if the enemy is on the tank range, the Marines will be attacking then only then. If there's nothing on the tank range, they will be staying with the tanks.
Yeah, I kind of have like different roles for my unit micro. And like one of them's survival, where they just do whatever they can to stay alive while they attack. And then the other one's like maximum damage, where they just try to do as much damage as possible, no matter what incoming damage exists. So basically all I gotta do is swap the role when I'm in range, when something's in range of my tanks, and then my Marines will get more aggressive.
Okay. That sounds really good idea.
It's one of those rare things in my code that was actually generic enough to make for an easy new feature.
Yeah, as a new author, it's really difficult to actually pinpoint what you have to make generic. I'm making more and more. Every new function that I'm making, I'm trying to make it as generic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's a frightening amount of battle cruisers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with TVT, air control is pretty important. Just tanks and Marines versus another opponent who has tanks, Marines, and vision because they have the air units. Makes them tough to beat.
Absolutely right about that.
Just trying to put all my focus into that is what allowed me to have a positive win rate versus Micro Machine. GenZBot's also really good at that.
Yeah.
It's because tanks can shoot further than they can see. So
Yeah.
basically, if you don't have air control, your tanks can only shoot 9 range, where the guy with air control, his tanks can shoot 11 range because they can see further.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like also often at least in the bot world, the air units sort of bait the enemy bio units to go a bit forward to shoot the air units, and then the tanks get to shoot.
Yeah.
Like that's often what happened against GNC. But like it's a bit tricky. Like I remember with GNC also, he had this problem sometimes that, like, not sure how his code is, but like he has like I guess it's sort of a state the army is in that, okay, now I'm in the state that I'm sort of trying to get the tank line forward bit by bit, and then sometimes the enemy army comes from the side, and the army is still on like in that state that it's sort of trying to get ahead, and then it just gets overrun.
Yeah. Or like last week on ProBots, my bot's trying to, maintain air control and like, slow move the tanks forward against the opponent's tanks. But then Veteran just had a bunch of Thors. He's like, "Oh, you don't have anything on the ground. Let me just walk straight forward and run over your entire army." It's like I got all these finesse units, but I don't have anything that's like can actually handle the Thor.
Yeah, once you get a lot of Thors, that will be a problematic for the tanks, because the DPS for the Thors can out DPS the tanks.
Yeah. The Thors are also very good if you lose air control, because they have 12 range, so they can kind of keep the opponent's air from spotting your tanks. Because but 12 range versus air, like even if the opponent has air control, they can't keep their Vikings forward as spotters. They'll just get picked apart by the Thors.
And what I have seen, the Thors are really good flanking units. You just send 2 Thors around the map, avoid the main battle. They are able to do huge damage. And if the main armies engage in main battle, those Thors are just not encountered by anything. So except circlings are really, really devastating against Thors.
Yeah. Thor is actually well outranged the Tempest. In high impact mode, they have 12 range. Tempest only has 10 versus ground. But that doesn't mean they're good versus Tempest. They're supposed to be good, but the fact that Tempest can all stack up and Thors kind of get in each other's way, that's, if you send 10 Thors against 10 Tempests, you'll usually only have like 2 or 3 Thors able to attack at once, but all 10 Tempests can attack at once.
Completely true.
Yeah.
What I have seen, a lot of the bots are really afraid of the Thors, and they are trying to stay out of the range of Thors. So it's a psychological warfare in the bot world.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just actually looking at my last game versus Veteran before the Probot stream, and I died to Thors because my units just never wanted to engage them. Because my army doesn't think of itself as an army; it just thinks of itself as individual units. So like a Raven's going to say,
Thors are scary.
Yeah. So like one Raven will say, okay, I'm not going to place an auto turret because I got get in range of the Thor to do so. But when I have like 20 Ravens and they still don't want to do that, that's a problem. So my solution for that was basically like once every 90 seconds for about a 5-second period, I just make all my units be super, super brave. So at least that means all my units are going to be brave at the same moment in time. So that's what happened in Probots. Like my Ravens would just stay back, and then all of a sudden they'd all move in and throw down auto turrets.
I think that's
sometimes I believe that sometimes resulted in an overkill of auto turrets.
Yep, there's nothing that limits how many auto turrets I put down besides how much space there is. So yeah, sometimes my bots will throw down like 12 auto turrets to kill a Marine or something.
I don't remember, but do you have harass with Ravens?
I don't. That was the original idea of how to use them, but I never actually set it up. I have harass with Banshees, with Hellions. And I think that's it.
Because, as I recall, auto turrets are actually amazing at killing buildings. If you get behind the enemy, obviously.
Yeah, I think in total they do about 220 damage before they expire. So, yeah, if you want to kill like a hatchery or something, you gotta put down quite a few. The harass would be better at killing the workers if the bot isn't very good at pulling out of range.
Well, they are also free units, so you can just keep 2 or 3 in the back and constantly do damage almost.
Yeah.
This is one hero tank.
Yeah, perfect position there. Ravagers, neither Roaches or Ravagers can reach it from the ramp. The Biles could reach it, but he's not really targeting it with Biles. That depot's about to go down though. That could change things.
Yeah, there's a few bots I've noticed, and Chaos is one of them, but they don't seem to repair the depots.
It was repairing the tank earlier.
Well, yeah, but a tank is different than a structure technically.
Yeah, but now it has a battle cruiser doing a victory lap.
Yeah, I think that's a signature move for the Chaos bot. It's going in circles in the enemy main.
Yeah. I think even my bot wouldn't repair the depot in that spot. Because it's tough to send SCVs to repair a depot when there's ranged units on the other side of the depot. It's a good way to lose all your workers. It's one thing if it's like Zerglings or Zealots, then there's no threat. But when there's Roaches and Ravagers, you gotta kind of balance the wall with the
You say there's no threat, but I've definitely seen the Zerglings manage to kill everything because they thought there was no threat there.
Well, what I mean is like if there's Zerglings attacking your wall, you can repair the wall without losing your SCVs. But if there's Roaches attacking your wall and you send SCVs, the Roaches can shoot over the wall and kill your SCVs.
Yeah, but the delay you add might actually help, especially if you have something like a siege tank.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, he built a planetary in his main base, and it actually paid off.
Yeah.
I just noticed.
Yeah, it killed all the offensive units, and there's one tank also.
It's trying to be a sewer mermaid, so
That
was awesome.
He did 2 hero units. That Battlecruiser is one of them, and the first tank that was the one hero unit.
How many kills does that Battlecruiser have?
We
Also,
connect
the
to
planetary in the main's getting even more work now.
But KSBot doesn't have any
he-
mineral income at the moment, does it?
No, he's only mining gas at the moment with that one SCV he's got.
And he can't call down mules either because he made a PF.
I hope he has a code when he has enough gas, he will switch up to the minerals. No victory laps on the enemy natural at all.
This
a
is
flying factory.
very dangerous. That's what's happening because that Zerg, even though he has only a few workers, is expanding everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but all over the map.
I think he's suiciding his workers. They are trying to get in the main for some reason.
They might be trying to build some structures in the main base or something. I don't know.
So I wonder how long until that gas geyser runs out.
What is that blue thing next to Dovahkiin's one base? Is it a structure or what's happening there?
I have no idea.
The-
I think it has to be some structure.
But the battlecruiser is in danger of going down. The next queen might do it.
I bet that battlecruiser paid himself.
The battlecruiser did, but unfortunately, there's only one worker.
Well, it's not the battlecruiser's fault.
$139 kills apparently. That's how many kills the battlecruiser has.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Did
there's
they
two,
both-
two queens on the map. They should kill the battlecruiser, I think.
Unfortunately, I think they have both bugged out. So yeah, I think we can call this one because Dovahkiin is banking up all the minerals it's getting, and
But Chaosbot is still on the attack. It's trying. But yeah, Dovahkiin is not building anything. Now the battlecruiser might go down. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of those last drones are going to the gas right next to the battlecruiser. Oh, there, the battlecruiser's gonna go.
yeah, I think we can call this one. I think Chaosbot has a chance to win it once it's runs out of gas in that
I don't know if it's
extractor.
gonna run out of gas soon enough, though. Is it?
Where is Dovahkiin's one worker? What is it? What is that doing?
It's mining minerals somewhere.
The one worker, it's in the main. The one for Chaos is in the main mining gas.
Yeah,
The
but
one for
Dovahkiin.
Dova, I think, is in the center base. One of
In the gold base?
base to the right of this one. Yeah, the gold.
The one with the proxy starport.
We got about 12 minutes left until we start getting minerals.
Yeah, Yatahun says
According
that
to
Chaos Bond wins eventually.
Oh man.
But
Chaos's minerals.
there's a second worker for Chaos Bot.
No, there's still only one. It's
Oh, I
probably
guess-
building a second now.
I guess I'm a bit ahead on the stream.
Really? Yeah, you might be. I might be a little bit behind.
Because it's on the bottom bar, it's saying free workers for me right now.
Yeah,
I just realized
19,
the stream.
20 minutes now.
It's just many workers, pretty much. Got to get back up to that 12 workers set.
I think
Yeah.
we can skip this one. This might be take a while for Chaosbot to win. I think it will eventually win because Doba did bug out for some reason. So I
Might
vote
have-
that we
It might
skip
have
this one.
bugged out because it lost both its main and natural. Might be stuck trying to build something it can't build right now.
Could be possible. Well, it was a rather unique game. And what do we have next? Sun Tzu bot versus Silver Bio. I don't remember seeing Silver Bio for a while.
Was there some description for this game? Did Sun Tzu bot do something like specific or?
Can't remember any because I haven't marked those descriptions down this time. Sorry for that.
Oh, the author said that so wonky, I loved it. So it's a good game for the stream, I guess. Let's see.
Yeah, sounds absolutely our game.
We should probably keep those titles that authors give.
Yeah, I think we should. Hey Andy, welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, the production value is not high as it in Probots, but I hope you enjoy yourself on the other side of the screen. Sun Tzu is taking third base already. But I think that's not so greedy for the Cirque to take all 3 bases before the 3-minute mark. If I remember correctly, Silver Bio was Infi's attempt to imitate Silver League Terran player with this bot, if I remember correctly.
To
Yeah,
be
that's
fair,
the description.
a proper silver would probably win against a lot of the bots, especially because as I like to say, we've definitely said here before, it's basically like a bronze league controlling the bot with either platinum or masters micro.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think most bots does have masters or GM level micro, but most of them do have Bronze League heroes decision-making skills.
Yeah, I think the micro is also quite context dependent. That like the bots have the potential for micro that humans can't do, but like and they will control every unit, but like whether they control it in any way wisely is another question. Like I know my bot definitely doesn't like control every unit wisely.
Yeah, actually, you're quite right about that one. those Marauders are doing a huge damage this time when they're getting in. I think they are going to get that base down.
And I've been talking
Yes.
for like the last 10 minutes with my mic muted.
Well, it happens.
Like, Sebelas keeps talking over me. All right, I'll let him speak. It's like, I just said that he's a Silver League Terran bot. Then Sebelas is like, I think it's a Silver League Terran bot.
This is something I don't have in my bot. It doesn't know when to retreat from the encounter. And I did like that one. One half of the units did stay back home and defend, and other half went for an attack
Yeah.
on the other side of the map.
I don't think that was intentional. I think when he crossed the map, just half the units saw the roaches, and the other half had already gone by that point. But it worked out
You
really
might
well.
be right. Yeah, it did work.
So Zunzu gets like a +1 roach timing, and then that's where he kind of stops. He just tries to overwhelm with like non-stop roaches, according to his bio at least. Kind of like Stefano's old build. Just max out on roaches as fast as possible, see if the opponent can handle it.
Yeah, yeah. I do like the composition. It does have Marauders with Marines. Although the Silver Bio would have enough gas for some higher tech also.
So mine also usually has a decent amount of gas, but what I use it for is I save it up for upgrades. I don't know if Silver does that though. So Silver Bio probably just puts some markers on gas and forgets about them.
Yeah, based on the
I-
gas bank, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I presume it doesn't have a transition to any other units except Marauder Marines, or is it able to
Well,
transition?
I
Probably
don't
not.
think it does, but just adding in some upgrades would massively help the build. Because you got the gas bank already, you've got a mineral bank building right now, so you can quite easily afford to just put some upgrades into the order.
Yeah, shields and +1/1 would do a lot of good for the Silver Bio build.
Even 2/2 is pretty easily on the table for how much he's got banked up. I don't know if they would have enough for 3/3. I think they would.
Yeah, and you can take 2 more gas buildings, and then you have way more gas than you would ever need for 3/3.
I think you can actually do it off of a single gas geyser.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because time is
Okay.
the limiting factor for those upgrades more than the gas.
Okay.
If you could build all 6 upgrades at once, then yeah, more gas would be helpful.
Yeah, let's say he takes the shields for the Marines and 3/3 upgrades. This would be a devastating army at this point of the game.
Yeah, I think he's got combat shields. I think I see the shields on the Marines, if I'm seeing it correctly.
I don't see any of the upgrades or any of the shield upgrade but I don't know if that shows up in weapons and armor.
It doesn't show up there, but the Marine itself will have its shield on its left arm when it has combat shields.
Yeah, I do have the so low resolution. I can't see
Yeah.
that they have shields.
Just the angle they're attacking too. We only see their right arms. When they're retreating, you might be able to see it easier.
Yeah, actually, there's a shield on the left arm, so they do have the combat shield ready. So
Yeah.
plus 10 HP for each single Marine.
Combat shield's always good for bots because you don't have to make any decisions based on that. Stim, like if you don't have good decision making for Stim will be a liability more than a help. You just end up stimming all your units to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
like
I
to
mean, to
stim.
be fair, they don't stim them to death. They stim them near to death, and then they die in one shot by anything.
Yeah.
Now there's Broodlords. This is a problem for Silver
Well,
Bio, I think.
If he masses them up, it'll be a problem. Oh, he does have 3 of them. Yeah, that's good. That's already a problem.
Small groups of Broodlords are just actually doing really well.
Yeah, Broodlords are really good against ground. Just because the Broodlings get in the way, it's so hard to jump on the Broodlords. I mean, Stalkers can do it with Blink, but other ground units, there's this wall of Broodlings in front of them. They can't really dive forward on them, on the Broods.
Yeah, you definitely need some air units to take those things down.
Yeah. Or Thors. Thors can outrange them. But again, it's kind of the same issue with Thors versus Tempest. They can mass up and you kind of can't, so.
Yeah, but you have to send the Thors all around the map. You don't want to clump them up, just send them everywhere.
Well, I mean, the Broodlords are also a massive source of a ton of free units, so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other problem with Thors is that Broodlings are really good versus Thors. Because that's such overkill if you use a Thor to shoot a Broodling. And if you ignore them, then the Thors will just be full surrounded.
And not be able to move into range of the Broodlords half the time.
Well, actually, maybe I take
Actually,
that
I
back.
think they are. I think they are in range, actually, but
Yeah, they're definitely in range. Thors can shoot really far versus air. Actually, a lot of the reason Thors suck versus Broodlords is because they naturally shoot the Zerglings. Or naturally shoot the Broodlings if you're a human player. But as a bot, you can fix that with your own targeting. So maybe Thors would be very good versus Broodlords.
I wonder, is Silver Bio able to clear out the creep from the next expansion, or is Silver Bio going to starve himself to death with lack of minerals?
Well, he's got at least 8 patches. Looks like 12 patches. Oh, and another base. Okay, yeah. No, he's got a lot of minerals, at least for now. But yeah, another expansion is going to be difficult with all that creep. I don't think creep spread, or removing creep is probably not in Silver Bio, as it's just a basic house bot.
Yeah, I presume that also.
Unless it's like pre-built into the Sharpie framework, which I don't think it is.
I have no idea. But what I know, the Sharpie framework is absolutely brilliant piece of engineering. So if there's a new guys wanting to start and making bot, I would strongly suggest to go with the Sharpie framework for your first bot, because it has so much pre-built stuff on it. So if you want to make bot fast, that's a Sharpie framework for you right there. But it seems that Silver Bio is able to push Sun Tzu bot's main on the ground.
Yep. Those Broodlords have really nice spots. He's got 2 in the high ground in the middle, and then 1 harassing the third base. But yeah, with nothing else, he's getting pushed all the way back. Going to lose his main. And probably lose a bunch of workers trying to rebuild all those structures.
Yeah, I think we are going to see a stream of workers suiciding themselves. This is something I solved with my bot a couple of weeks ago. I don't remake the production buildings in the main once I lose it.
Yeah, SunZuBot just went from.
I remake them in a random position essentially. So.
Yeah, I think it's less relevant for the Cirque. Where do you have the buildings? At least that's how I see it.
It is, but you want to make sure they're not killed like as they're building.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sunzubot lost one of its broodlords, so it's down to 3. And 3 might be enough to win this game if Silver Bio can't figure out how to kill the last base.
I presume this is a GG at this point.
Oh,
But I have
it's
to
finding
say,
the last base.
yeah, it's going to go down quite soon. But really good game from Sunzubot. A lot of back and forth. What I would love to see from the Silver Bio is the upgrades. So even not fast, but eventually the upgrades would do a lot of good for the Silver Bio. I wonder if Infi is willing to give up like Silver Bio for the base for a new bot or something like that. I don't know. Are those bots, house bot designed for that way?
I'm sure they're all open source if you want to change it. But of course, the point of that bot was to, was to tone it down to a silver level. So if you make it strong, it's kind of losing its purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm guessing it's probably like that rusty bio house bot he had, and he probably just made it worse just to give some lower level house bots.
The Rusty uses tanks also. It might do upgrades. Sure.
Well, there's a bunch of rusty ones, wasn't there?
Oh, okay, but the one
So
that is called Rusty.
is any of the house bots that are Terran.
Yeah. That's how I remember it.
There's a flying build, a bio build, and a mech build, I believe.
Oh, okay, but there is also currently on the ladder a bot called Rusty.
Yeah, that might.
Which is
I think that
Rusty tanks sort of.
I think the Rusty is the most serious attempt to build a Terran bot from Infi originally, but I don't know what's the situation with that bot at the moment. Has it been downgraded for the ladder? But that was the main attempt for Infi to make a proper Terran bot.
Yeah, just looking at the public bots he put out there, there's a Rusty Infantry, Rusty Locks, which I'm guessing is Cyclones, Rusty Marines 1, Rusty Marines 2, Rusty Marines 3, Rusty 1 base Turtle, Rusty Screams, I don't know what that would be, and Rusty Tanks. And he does this, the protest ones are all named Sharp, and then the Zerg ones are all named Blunt. But they're good for practice. That's like, 30 basic bots or something like that Infi's made.
Yeah, and he's able to make those bots so fast with the Sharpie framework. It's like 10 minutes, and then he has a new bot available to test against.
This is a pretty amusing game, actually. Maybe not for Getrock, but
yeah, this is something I tried to modify a little bit the mine logic, the widow mine logic. I use them more defensively, so I'm not trying to go on the other side of the map. I'm just filling up my side first and then gradually moving forwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, after that, the transition to Thors. I think Getrock does love Thors very much.
I think the build I chose has a lot of Cyclones, and my Cyclones don't micro properly versus Thors. And also, there's no better value in the game for Widow Mines than shooting a Cyclone. It's like the most expensive unit in the game that they can one-shot. So every time a Widow Mine shoots a Cyclone, it's like huge value for any bot.
Well, I think the mines are not getting that much value because I'm not able to scan enough. Of course, when I'm able to scan, the balances will go down, but well, Terran has a limited amount of scans, so that will be limiting factor in this game.
I
There's
mean,
also
it's a limiting factor, but you got to remember, sometimes some of the Terran bots just build massive farms like Ketrok does when he gets enough minerals. Just massive farms of the command centers.
The other thing is, when my bot's considering how many ravens it wants, it doesn't consider widow mines at all. So there's nothing that says like, hey, there's a bunch of widow mines on the map. Let me get a few more ravens just so like I can detect.
But what I have seen, you are not sacrificing the ravens for the widow mines. I think Ketrok bot doesn't do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the widow mines, my bot. But sometimes like my army comes up to the widow mines and then they just can't do anything because I don't have scan and I don't have detection.
That's kind of the idea with this build.
Yeah.
To actually slow down the enemy a little bit, to be able to max out and then transition to something more expensive. Well, this build has a Taurus behind it, so yeah.
So not only are you getting decent value with the widow mines, but it also makes you like perfectly safe at home because my army can't get across the map at all. Keeps getting stuck.
Yeah, the idea is not to win with the widow mines because that's a ridiculous idea, but to actually slow down the enemy. That's the main objective here. As you can see on the losses side, Anibot has more losses than Ketrok at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe not in terms of gas though. Because widow mines aren't a big deal. They're almost all minerals. Where
The
I'm losing
Thors are
gas heavy
coming in
things.
from both sides now.
Yep.
It's pretty funny. Not sure if you can see it here, but I checked this replay and they are like waypointed from base to base, like to start. Like they just follow the waypoints and
That
kill
Hellion's dead.
one base at a time.
One thing about the the resources though is that the minerals are generally more important than gas, especially for a bunch of the Terran armies.
I mean, if you're making mass marine, maybe, but typically the opposite. All the really important units are gas heavy, and more of the basic units are the mineral ones, the marines, the zealots, the adepts.
Yeah, we tend to see more armies that are focused on the basic units, or at least I do.
Yeah, like Spot said, my Taurs have a very limited brain capacity. They do have pre-calculated path, and they just move that path, and that's it. they don't micro at all.
Yeah, but you attack on both sides. It's pretty effective with the Thors, I mean.
Yeah, they circle the map clockwise and anti-clockwise.
That code I had with my ravens to like be afraid of Thors, but every once in a while just dive in and lay a bunch of auto turrets. I need to do the same thing with my cyclones, where every once in a while they'll all dive in and establish a lock. Because right now they're just staying back and not doing anything.
Yeah, they would be easily picking off those Taurs one by one with that logic.
Yeah, because Thors are actually very weak to cyclones, or they should be very weak to cyclones.
Yeah, and if you look all of them in one Taur, that Taur should be evaporized like in seconds.
If you lock one cyclone on a Thor, the Thor should be dead because the Thor is so slow and the cyclone lock does so much damage. that even a Thor would die to a single lock.
Yeah, and the distance is so high with the lock on, so it should
Yeah.
be able to kill the Thor.
Yeah, the distance is like 14 range. Usually you lose vision. You lose distance if you're going to lose the lock.
So you're staying out of the range even though they have lock on available.
Yeah. Because to
Because
get
what
the
I-
lock on, you have to get within Thor range. So you got to take hits to establish the lock. But once you have the lock, you can just kite the Thor to death very easily.
Yeah, because that's what I do with my Cyclones. Once they have a lock on, they just A-move towards the closest enemy, and once they have a lock on, after that they are trying to kite away from the threat. They're getting hit once in a while, but that's completely fine compared to the fact that they are, well, what you can see here, they are trying to stay alive with all cost, and that's going to cost the game.
I think my Cyclones are willing to go take damage to establish a lock, but I think I have it set up that if they can be two-shot, then they don't do it. And I think even a single Thor can two-shot of a Cyclone, so therefore they'll never try to dive a Cyclone. I need to expand that logic somehow.
Yeah, I think you. I did like the idea that once in a while they just, for a couple of seconds, they are going in no matter what. I think that
Yeah.
would be the perfect solution in this case.
The nice thing about that is it synchronizes them, right? So all my Cyclones will dive in at once, or all my Ravens will dive in at once. So even though I don't have a concept of an army in my bot, at least that'll make all my units kind of behave in a similar manner. Because like diving in individual Cyclones periodically is no good. They'll just keep running into their death. But if they all go in at once, Thor can't shoot all of them at the same time.
Once you have that ready, I want to see it in action because that sounds so good idea to once in a while just dive in. But it's amazingly even those losses at the moment. So basically, this was an economy victory for Annie.
Yeah. And my Banshee's the only thing doing something. And every time you scan, I lose a Banshee.
But I have to admire that Banshee logic because Ketrok is really able to keep those things alive. That's something I haven't managed to do with my bot at all. So yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like if an observer arrives or something, you can kind of just keep the Banshee at a range. But if you get scanned, there's no, the scan doesn't arrive. It's just all of a sudden, instantly, there's a scan on top of your Banshee. So you can't react to that. You can run away once you see the scan, but by that point, it's usually too late. Especially
That
when
is
there's mass
completely
Thor on the
true.
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely true. You can't run away from 5 Thors under your Banshee. That's impossible.
I saw a dancing command center there.
Quite heavy CC micro.
You could probably land at the. Well, they've got Thors walking by there.
Yeah, my orbitals that lift off, they only try to land where they came from. So basically, they just leave until the danger goes away, then they come back. They're not smart enough to go to other bases or anything like that.
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to always do. Once I lift the orbital, I'm trying to find the next possible location to land, and sometimes that works. Sometimes it's a really bad idea.
Well, GG.
And GG, it was a good game. Also, I removed the repair logic for flying buildings because a lot of the cases I did flew my command centers above enemy army, even though it wasn't able to shoot up. But I did suicide all my SCVs
Can you repair it?
trying
Yeah.
to repair it. So now I'm not repairing flying units anymore, flying structures anymore.
Yeah, I did the same thing with my offensive planetaries. They would start getting injured, so I'd send SCVs all the way across the map to repair them, but then they'd die on the way across the map, and next thing I know, I have no more SCVs. So I had to turn that off.
So the next game, is this the last one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
this is the-
my cherry-picked game because
I
my record against Ketrock is close to 0%, or not close. It's exact or was exactly 0% for some but for some reason I won this game recently.
So of course you want to show it on the stream.
Yeah.
I can understand why. Well, that's the stream about. Unfortunately, Ketrock, you are in the place that everybody wants to see you lose. So you have to bear the same burden that Micro Machine did before.
Okay, I consider it an honor
Yeah,
to be the
I think
mandatory
so.
loss each week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I checked this replay and I'm not actually sure like why this game was different than my usual losses.
The difference is this time you won.
Yeah, but like
Well-
I don't really understand like why it went differently. It just seems like at a certain point maybe it's just by luck my unit sort of got into a good position and then managed to break through.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like I'm going for a weird build. Kind of like that one I did versus Gen Z and Probots when we didn't have data. So it looks like it's going Ravens and Cyclones. Usually my bot prefers like tanks and Banshees versus Terran.
Yeah, do you use any like data on the ladder? Because I think you went Banshees against my bot previously, but then I recently made some updates and then the Banshees didn't do anything after that. And I think your bot sort of, it seemed like you stopped going Banshees after that.
Yeah, my bot does uses data, so it
So if you don't get any kills with Banshees, you might like stop using them against a specific bot, or
well, it has a bunch of prefabricated, like it's got a bunch of build orders, then different strategies, and then it just keeps track of the win rates with those. So it'll just pick whatever it's doing best with.
okay. Well, yeah, that might be it because I think your win rate is almost 100 with all your builds. So
I may have also manually picked the build versus Spud and then forgot about it. Because originally our bots are supposed to play each other in Pro Bots in week 1, and then the bracket changed. And then I switched to Gen Z. So I'm not sure. Maybe I put something hard coded in for Spud, and then I forgot and left it there. I don't know.
I mean, that sounds distinctly possible.
I guess this is all going to come down to whether your tanks can get a nice forward position. Because pushing tanks with Cyclones is not really a possibility.
yeah, but what usually happens in these games is that I just bash my head against the planetaries. And this is a bit, my bot is a bit bugging out and the tanks, they wanted to retreat, but then they remain.
Oh, okay. Tanks actually do 50% more damage unsieged versus structures. So it actually increases their DPS.
That's interesting. Yeah,
but the problem is unsiege, you're getting shot back because you have to get closer.
Yeah, I think what happened there is that I lost all my other ground units and you had some air unit there. So then my tanks think it's time to retreat.
Hmm.
But then, like, I guess they were A mode or something, and they just remained instead of going back.
This is something I should also do something about, because it's not ideal to run the Marines against those turrets that those Ravens are placing.
It's okay when they're going just one turret at a time, like my bud's doing. Those turrets are killing nothing. In fact, that code I have to kind of dive the Thors with turrets, I should maybe extend that more into my Ravens so they don't like always do something similar to that. So I'm never throwing down just one turret at a time.
Maybe you need some oscillator on your bot that when the oscillator is down, your bot is super defensive and trying to keep the units alive, and when the oscillator is up, then the units are suicidal, murderous units.
So this is another retreat.
This time it did work better than the last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, more
Yeah.
tanks remained alive.
Yeah, when I retreat with my bot, I retreat with a move command, but I'll still attack anything that's in range when my weapon's off cooldown. So it's more like a shooting retreat.
Yeah.
It's always moving backwards, but it will shoot when it can.
Basically like a delay tactics in army.
Yeah, those auto turrets are, they get like 2 shots on a Marine, but then there's medevacs, so it's like none of the damage is permanent.
Yeah, it depends who is going to run out of energy first in that fight.
It looks like I'm going to get up to a serious amount of Ravens, though, just based on the number of gas geysers I'm taking. Looks like I'm up to like 14 gas geysers right now.
Yeah. But I think this is the turning point, for if I remember right. My tanks just get close enough, like enough of them, and then I managed to get the base down, which didn't happen previously.
Nice. And even a lot of bio left over.
And those Vikings are doing quite well. They were gunned down by the turrets, unfortunately. But they were managed to hit some of the Ravens.
I don't think he's going to get through the natural, though, will he? If you get through the natural, it's probably a game. Medevac's going down now as well. So now my auto turrets will finally be doing damage that counts. Oh man, that Planetary is getting low. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah, this could be it.
Those Ravens do have a lot of energy, but they're not willing to spend all of it. Are they afraid of the Vikings or the Marines?
Everything. Anything that shoots up, they're afraid of.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have it. They don't have any concept that they shouldn't be afraid because there's a lot of them. If they're in a lot of danger, they'll throw down a bunch of auto turrets. If they're max energy, they'll throw down an auto turret. Otherwise, they're looking just for a safe place to place auto turrets that's in range of the enemy. And
Okay.
yeah, I don't know. When they're already at their furthest retreat point, I don't know what they do.
It's
Right
not
now when they're
then why would it ever be safe?
Well, I mean, the auto turret has 7 range plus its radius, and then you can cast it from 2 range. So really,
basically,
yeah, it's like 9 range, right? So you can put auto turrets in range of Marines without putting the Raven a threat. But against a Thor, for instance, that has 12 range, you can never do that, even with all the ranges added up.
Yeah, that's true.
Can I actually somehow extend this game? We're almost on top of the tanks here.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a few Marines and few
Yeah, the
Vikings
trickle
and
units is enough. Yeah.
yeah, to keep those Ravens at bay. I think you need the suicide thing for once in a while, even to go over the Marines. Well, this is rather nice game from Spud, and I do like the tank play from Spud also. Because I think it's rather difficult to make a proper tank leapfrogging. So just to decide when to actually unsiege and when to
Well,
siege.
I wouldn't say I have proper leapfrogging either. But I think maybe this was maybe the second retreat being successful was sort of the key that I had a critical mass of tanks for the third attack, and then I could get the planetary down.
You might be right.
I think when I originally made this build, and I haven't used it versus Terra in a long time, but I think the idea was the Ravens are really there to support the Cyclones, to matrix the tanks with. So
Yeah.
when they're trying to matrix tanks, and then there's no Cyclones to kill the tanks, the build kind of falls apart on itself.
Yeah, there's so many factors that it's really difficult to make a pre-programmed bot to work absolutely brilliantly in every situation. There's always the edge case that you haven't thought about.
Actually, I had a chance all the way up until the point he killed my starports. Because even when I lost most of my main base, I was still producing like 6 Ravens at a time because I had all the expansions and I still had the starports. Unfortunately, now there's no
Yeah.
more Ravens coming.
Are you able to build the starports anywhere else on the map, or is your bot only willing to build on the main?
Only in the main.
Okay, so basically,
Yeah.
once you lose the main, that will be the game.
Yeah, I have a whole new way to picking structure locations that I'm working on. So I don't want to add anything to my old method since I'm going to be throwing it away soon.
Okay, I understand.
But once I have that new method going, then I can add in stuff where, I can build at any of my bases and make that decision based on what's going on with the enemy army.
Are you going to make it so it will be calculating the places for the
Yeah.
structures, and you don't have to pre-code the locations anymore?
Yeah. The only thing I'll be calculating is how to wall off, or I'll be hard coding is how to wall off Reapers. Other than that, I think
Okay.
everything structure position I have calculated.
Okay.
There's just a lot of refactoring I have to do, even if it is working well. So it's definitely a project I'm working on after the tournament.
Your bot definitely loves command centers.
Yeah. Like my bot's all finesse units, so there's always so many minerals left over.
I think Spot would really benefit for a little bit more these medivacs. I think it wasn't able to build them more because it's maxed out already, but I think 2 medivacs for that amount of bio is not enough.
Yeah, now I have 4 new coming apparently.
Okay. So now it looks way better than
It
just
lost
before.
a few units, so it built more.
Yeah, I think he lost 3 medivacs as he was breaking into the natural. My Vikings got control for a little section there. I think medevac micro is something that no bot has taken to its extreme yet.
Yeah. I should definitely try to keep them alive better if I try to like make the bot a lot better. Currently they just follow. I don't even remember. They somehow follow some of the bio units, but I don't remember exactly if I select it somehow or if it's just a random unit that is following.
Yeah, because I think if you have Marine medevac and your opponent has Vikings, with perfect micro, I don't think the medevacs will ever be in danger. Because you can save 4 range behind your Marines, and then the Marines themselves have 5 range. So I think there's potential with medevacs to be pretty safe.
Fortunately,
I
well,
did.
if it surrounds you, or if it surrounds the army with the Vikings. But
Yeah,
I don't
obviously.
think
Yeah.
many bots would do that.
And one idea that I had, I would like to implement that is once the bio unit is getting, I don't know what the limit should be, but under half of the HP, it would run away from the main fight, like 5 steps, so that the medivacs will be able to heal the unit. And after it's completely healed, it will go back to the fight. So the healing unit won't be fighting, and the medivacs would be safe from the main encounter.
Yeah, that's an option. Could be a little more difficult to implement than you think, because you might be, if your army is getting pushed back or if your army is pushing forward, that 5 steps back is always going to be a moving target, a moving position.
Yeah, there might be some problems, and it might be a really bad idea in the end, but I would like to try how it works out.
Yeah, I had that idea for repairing SCVs, but yeah, I think it'd be a lot easier with medevacs, because medevacs, it doesn't really matter if the unit's moving, you can still repair it.
Yeah, I'm really afraid to take the SCVs to the main battle because they are relatively easy targets for the enemy units, and of course they have to be stationary to be able to repair and like that. So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit afraid to take those SCVs in the front. That's the reason I'm repairing all the units in my natural.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like SCVs in the middle of a fight don't help too much, because their rate of repair is actually pretty slow on units, because the rate of repair is based on like the total hit points and build time of that unit. So that's why they repair structures really quickly, but they repair units like tanks really slowly. So
Okay,
they're
so
really only good for repairing between fights. During a fight, they don't make much of an impact.
So basically, longer time the unit is required to build, the more time it will take to repair it. This is something I haven't known before. So I learned
Yeah.
something today.
Yeah, the repair cost is also based on the unit type. So like to repair 100% of the hit points of a unit costs 1/4 the production cost of that unit.
Yeah, that I did know already. But that's everything I have now. What I would like to suggest for the next stream, we could have a couple of request games, and then we could have a couple of, if we have this ongoing gauntlet tournament, we could start from the bottom and watch a couple of those games, and then a couple of the request games. And if there's not too many request games, we can do more gauntlet. And if there's no requests, more requests, or you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that sounds like an idea. It fills the gap if we don't have many request games.
Yes, exactly. But anyways, I will be going. Thank you everyone for joining. Spot, Getrock,
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Shadow Lord, thank you. And we will see you probably not next weekend, but after 2 weeks time at least, and we will see what's going on then. And everyone on the chat,
Sounds good.
thank you for the joining, and we will see you later.
So yeah.
Night.
Bye.
Bye bye.